A good start to the game, great energy like you said, and we're just feeding off of that and trying to make the right plays. In a playoff game, game 3, it could go either way, just depending on how you start and also how you continue to be resilient in those next 3 quarters. When it gets to the gritty part of the game, I feel like we responded and we kept our emotions and we were able to battle to the end and come out with this win, so I feel pretty good. Sometimes if you don't see your points total looking like normal, you can psych yourself out of the game and you can end up being in a position mentally where you're not able to still impact positively. And that's something in competitive sports we don't talk about often. It's just the external pressure that people put on themselves to live up to certain expectations when it's just one game. You're playing in the playoffs, and if you look at the history of the game, there's not a fancy formula that all these championship teams had. They just continue to battle, continue to do the little things on the defensive end first, and then allow their offense to flourish. If you look at some of the greatest players in history, some of their low moments, they didn't score much, but they had a huge impact on the game. So I try to have that same approach mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and then allow my physical talents and abilities to play out in the right time and right situation. I was just telling my wife this other day, I think we spoiled the fans in the regular season in terms of how many points are scored and how, it's a different style of basketball. When we get to the playoffs and it gets a little extra chippy. And, I think when you're seeing the true competitive nature of certain guys, it's human, and you got to be able to control it. That's the key to all this. And if you're going to dish it out, you better be able to be ready or prepared for somebody to dish it back to you. So you just got to pick and choose your battles wisely, know who you can get under a little bit mentally, and just focus on the big picture at the end of it. That's overall. It's just don't get kicked out of the game. But if you are, then just make it worth your while, and just make sure we're winning. You know what I mean? Like, just make sure we're winning, and that covers a lot of mistakes. Is when you win, you kind of get exited out of the game. But I think things are going to happen throughout the rest of the series, and we just got to be prepared. And a lot of provoking going on, but it's just chippiness of the NBA game and just basketball, and stretches get a little tough. We just took a look in the mirror and we had a lot of bonding time off the court, and we just did things as a team, and we went through adversity, we talked about it, we were very honest in our therapy sessions that we used to have after games sometimes, or at times, and we just were ready to move on to the next thing. We don't have time for distractions, we gotta eliminate all those, so that's been pretty much the MO in our locker room is, teams are coming at us, look back at the times where we did not live up to our standard and use that as motivation and energy to continue to put your best foot forward.
I thought the guys did a great job of the ball touching the paint and being able to secure it, being able to finish some of the plays that we missed, some layups. But to be able to get the lob involved tonight was big on both ends. Just our energy, and then also on the defensive side that carried over with our energy, and just understanding that's been a big part of our success offensively, and being able to play above the rim. I think when you look at PJ, he's been consistent on the defensive end, and then being able to get out on the break. We had 22 fast break points, and that's something that we've talked about in this series. But PJ's been great. He's not afraid of anything. He competes at a high level. He's been a big part of this team since he's been here, and you can see that he's comfortable. This series is going to be more mental as it goes on, because just of the physicality, the play is very physical, but the mental aspect of this series, we have to be sharp and we have to understand what's taking place. And I thought the guys did a great job of protecting one another. We got a long ways to go, but this is a great stepping stone for us to be able to continue to keep building. We haven't done anything. We protected home. Half of this serve is now to protect Sunday. Just like we did at their place, we won that second game. So we understand what's at stake for Sunday. Now we got to go back and see how we can get better.
I feel like these last 2 games have definitely set the tone of physicality. The officials aren't really calling any calls, and they're just going to let us play. So it's really going to come down to whatever team comes out and throw the first punch and is able to take a punch and throw another back. Just being able to try to be the aggressor the whole night. That's real hard to describe. There's not a lot of feelings that can really be up to that standard. Everybody in the arena was yelling, and it just felt like everybody in there wanted us to win as much as the whole team did. Just being able to have that amount of energy behind us just makes us want to play that much harder. I think we all see that when we're on the defensive side, there's a different look in everybody's eye. It's like being aggressive and being the aggressor even though that they have the ball. There's going to be people who's going to step up and try to stop Kyrie and Luka, and that's where I can just feed off of. Either dump balls, lobs, or putbacks. There's just ways that I can affect the game. It's really just going to come down to us being disciplined, us being locked into each play. That's what the playoff is. It's possession by possession.
I think we took now 1-2 steps in physicality. So I think these last 2 games was great physical-wise. So with this 3 games passed, so we gotta focus on the next one. As play with basketball, there's always gonna be some stay focused, stay locked in, and just play the game. I'm used to players coming to me. I'm used to that, so I just try to stay calm, just keep playing basketball. You see them cheer for us every time they're on the bench, which explains a lot of the great guys they are. And just keep working hard. You're going to be playing 40 minutes in this situation, so I appreciate those young guys. They always cheer for us.